confession. This is my first talk ever. So please forgive me. Anyway, let me start. Since we're talking about stories that shape our lives, I am the fifth of 6 children and the last of the girls. I have 3 sisters and 2 brothers. I always wondered why I was different, because I could climb a tree, I could run with the boys, but then I was scared of spiders and cockroaches. And then my father would always say to me, why are you scared of cockroaches when you can climb a tree? And I could beat up boys, but then I was scared of spiders. And then I grew up with that, and everybody said to me that because I was very talkative as a child, Ofu diaman noge. And then I shocked everybody by getting married and even having my first child while I was in law school. And then on, I continued. But just imagine, I always tried to, because of the way that I was and the fact that I was, my mother used to call me, she used to say I had scatterjamitis because I was very scattered as a child. I grew up trying to be perfect. So imagine where perfection is not just it's not a goal, but it becomes a demand. It becomes something that it embodies you. Everything about me had to be perfect. My home, the people who had access to my home knew it was pristine. My children had to be a particular way. My home, everything in my house had to be in a certain way. My linens were washed on particular days. Towels were washed on particular days. My children appeared seamless. Everything about me embodied perfectionism, to the point that, well, everybody saw me as a perfect person, but I look at this picture. I didn't want this picture. The picture that I gave them was not this picture. Because you see this picture here, this is a picture of when I embodied that perfectionism, where I felt that my body size mattered so much, to the point that I began to idolize my body. And it took me down very dark parts of eating disorders, slimming teas, slimming pills. I did everything, every fat diet that you can imagine. There was not one diet I didn't do. Plus the ones that my husband knew about and the ones that he didn't know about, I did all of them. Because I wanted to remain a particular size. By the time I had my 5th child, after my 5th child, I was weighing 58 kg. And I will have you know that my children I have a 22-year-old and I have a 10-year-old. So just imagine that. I was weighing 58 kg, and I think that's what I was weighing at this time. And I felt like, life was perfect. But you see, everything about me was just about perfection. And it continued on, and at work, I was perfect. I was called goody two shoes. You give me a job to do today, I return it that day. If you tell me to bring it back in 2 weeks, I return it the next day. But in all of that, I didn't realize how much I was killing myself until something happened. I didn't know that there was something lurking around the corner that was going to come in and shatter my world and change the course of my life. On the eve of my 45th birthday, as my husband and I sat in the doctor's room, and the words breast cancer came out of his mouth, the tsunami of emotions that came over me were such that I remember the scream. I remember it so much because I screamed so much that I think everybody almost went deaf from my screaming. And then, of course, it became, what do we do? What do we do? How do we do? What happens? And then I just went into my perfectionist mode. What do I do? What do I need to do? They said, oh, you need to do this. Oh, I did it. I did all. I think I found out on the 9th of June. By the 11th of June, I had done all the tests that needed to be done. By the 26th of June, I had had the mastectomy. And we're just about to move into our new house. So I moved into my house on a Friday, and I started chemo on a Saturday. And when the chemo started, the first one was fine. The second one, I said to my husband, you know what? I don't think I need to be alive anymore. I think it's just better we stop it. If I die, I die. Because by that time, you know what cancer does to you? It strips you of everything that you think is perfect within you. There was a picture that I had wanted to show, but I said to them, no, don't worry. I don't think I'm ready to show that picture. But suffice it to say that I didn't have any hair on my head. I didn't have any lashes. I didn't have any eyebrows. There was not one single hair on any part of my body. And then I was bloated. And this is me now. Very, always perfect, and I had, not just was I going through this, I also had the unfortunate thing of not being around people, because it was around that COVID period, so nobody could come around me. So it was just myself, my husband, and my children. I think the time when my children were not even allowed to be around me because of infection. And you see, it's amazing how in the pursuit of this unattainable perfection that consumed me, I went through very deep, dark depression when I found out I had cancer. Because here I was, and I was asking God, of all the things that you could, the only time I had been to hospital was when I was having babies. And I said to him, of all the things that you could do to me, how dare you give me cancer? Do you understand? This is me, perfect me, with the perfect body size. How do I have one breast, for God's sake? How do you take away something that means so much to me? And you see, even in that, there was something that I failed to realize, that I was I think I was 1% of the women who were privileged. Because not only did I find out early, I had the resources to get treatment, which a lot of women don't have. I had the resources to walk into the hospital of the specialists and get the kind of treatment that I needed. I had the funds. I had the connection. A lot of people didn't have that. And so slowly, I started to look at the things that I thought was important. Suddenly, my body size didn't matter. Suddenly, the dress size didn't matter. I didn't even wear my dresses anymore. They were just packed in my wardrobe. I never touched them. At some point, I gave out all my clothes. I gave out my shoes because I couldn't wear them anymore. And I didn't want them to just keep. Frankly, I didn't think I was going to survive. That was why I gave them out. But you see, that in that thing, oh God, my home changed. I no longer had control of my kitchen. I no longer had control of when the beddings were cleaned, washed, when they were not cleaned, when the house was mopped, when it wasn't mopped. Frankly, I couldn't even tell. I was just there trying to just be alive. And all of those things didn't matter anymore. I'm going to read something. That through the pain and fear, I found an unexpected ally in the form of courage and acceptance. You see, the emptiness of that superficial standard that I had built, it crumbled all around me. And in its face, I found authenticity. I found out that there was something bigger than my size of body, or the clothes that I wore, or how I appeared, or what my complexion looked like. Because you see, when you're going through chemo, not only does it take everything, your nails are dark colored, so you look like a corpse. When you look at your nails, they are dark colored, so you look like a corpse. Your tongue is black. Everything, you have sores in your mouth. Everything is just not you. I found something that in the twist of this fate, this thing that I thought, this diagnosis that I thought that came to shatter my fragile world, I found out that breast cancer saved my life. I say it every day. Had breast cancer not happened to me when it did, I would have been dead. What would have killed me would have been my so-called perfectionism. That's what would have killed me. It saved my life by showing me that true strength lies not in the rigid control, but in relentless vulnerability, not in flawless facade, but in authentic self-acceptance. It taught me that life is a gift to be cherished. That's what life is. It's not something to be controlled. It's not something to just say, oh no, I'm going to do this. I have to be like this. I have to be like that. No. For over 2 years, I couldn't go to work, and work didn't die. Nothing happened. Life continued. There was a day that I was in my room. Everybody had gone out. My children had gone on. My husband had gone on. I think I didn't even travel out of the country at that time. And I was just looking at, and I said to myself, imagine if I was dead. This is just how everybody would continue. And, I started there are days when, even though I'm stronger now, but there are days when I look at the scars that are not just on my body, but are etched in my mind. And it almost wants to take me back to that vulnerability, that place of self-perfectionism again. But I always pull myself out of it. And I remind myself that this choice that I make daily is an act of defiance. I've always been a defiant person. I've never followed rules. I find freedom in the scars that I have. For me, the scars that I have tell me that I fought a battle and I won those battles. That's what those scars say to me. It says to me that I'm the fire that burns within, the spirit that refuses to be extinguished. I am me, unapologetically and authentically. I am a work in progress, a story that is still being told and is still being written. I refuse to allow these scars define me. And honestly, if I could speak to my younger self, the one that was so lost in perfectionism, and if I could speak to the young people who are here today, who are lost in perfectionism, I would say to you, as I would have said to the younger me, embrace your imperfections, for they are what makes you truly beautiful. Love yourself fearlessly, with all your flaws and all your scars, for they are a testament to the battles that you have fought and the victories that you have won. Never forget that true beauty lies not in the size of your body or the perfection of your appearance, but in the depth of your soul and the resilience of your spirit. Through the darkness of this diagnosis and the battle that followed, I found a light within myself, and I knew that I never knew existed. Breast cancer may have been the storm, but it also brought the rainbow, the resilience and gratitude, and a newfound zest for life. Today I stand stronger, braver, and more alive than ever before. A survivor in every sense of the word. So, in a strange twist of fate, breast cancer didn't take from me. It gave me back to myself. Ifeoma. That's the name my father gave me. I asked my father why he gave me the name Ifeoma, because I felt it was such a common name. And my father told me that my name means beautiful in all things. So breast cancer gave me back my name, Ifeoma. Beautiful in all things. Ifeoma, a name that embodies beauty in its very essence. A reminder that beauty can be found in all things, even in the midst of pain and struggle. My name speaks of the resilience and strength that lie within me. The ability to find beauty and grace in every part of my journey. And so I say to you today, I don't care what the story that you have has been. You can change the course of your story. You can make it better. You can also choose not to make it better. But just remember one thing. You are a story that is still being told, that is still being written. You have not been written completely. I am a survivor. I am a breast cancer survivor, proudly a breast cancer survivor. And one of the passions I have is to ensure that women find out on time, women get treated, and when they have mastectomy, that they have access to reconstruction. Because reconstruction is not a cosmetic surgery. It's something that gives them back verve to live. While I'm not saying that striving to be perfect or striving to be great is a bad thing. However, striving for perfectionism is something that should not be encouraged. We should be ready to embrace our imperfection and be imperfectly perfect. Thank you.